by seeking divine blessing with the prayer Sahanavani.
Sahanavatu, Sahanau Bhunattu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
With reverence and gratitude, we offer our most humble thanks at the lotus feet of our Master, Sadguru Sri Sathya. Respected elders, esteemed faculty members, and my dear brothers and sisters, a very warm good afternoon and Sai. It is my privilege to welcome you all for this week's Words of Wisdom session, a thoughtfully curated platform that enables our students to learn directly from experienced professionals and leaders who have translated values into action. These interactions not only enrich our knowledge but also helps us align our aspirations with purpose and integrity. Today, we are honored to welcome Sri Joseph, a distinguished human resources professional from Somat, India. We welcome Bharti Sir, CRS Manager of the Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. Before we even dive into the introduction of our speakers, I would like to briefly share a few words about the Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. Founded in 2019 by Sadhguru Sri Madhusudansai, our university stands firmly on the guiding principles of Atmana and Jagati self-realization and service to society. Its motto, Yoga Guidance to Kaushalam, reminds us that true excellence lies in selflessness and skillful action. Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence and its commitment to provide comprehensive of education, including accommodation, nutrition, healthcare, and learning resources. The university predominantly serves students from rural and unserved communities. With significant numbers, the first generation learners, our holistic curriculum integrates academic excellence with spiritual grounding, leadership developments, life skills, and social responsibilities. As a part of Sri Madhusudansai Global Humanitarian Mission, the university aims by the idea of whatsoever to one world, one family. The actively contributing to society to initiatives such as the Annapurna Breakfast Program and the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Hospitals, ensuring nutrition, healthcare, and education to reach those who need them the most. Introducing today's distinguished speaker, we honored to welcome Sri Joseph, a seasoned human resources professional with over 29 years of multi-dimensional experience in the HR domain. Based in Chennai, Sri Joseph has built an illustrious career across leading India and multinational organizations, where he has contributed to both strategic and leadership levels. His expertise spans a wide spectrum of HR functions, including industrial relations, union negotiations, talent selections, compensations and benefits, performing management, learning and development, organization development, and change management. Over the last decade, he has served in a senior leadership role, guiding organizations through complex transformations, restructuring initiatives, and people-centric change, particularly in large, diverse, and multicultural environments. He brings with him a deep understanding of aligning human potential with organizational vision, while upholding ethical leadership and empathy. With hands-on experiencing and managing workforce dynamics, building resilient cultures, and driving sustainable performance. Sir Roy Joseph exemplifies that it means to be a leader who places people at the heart of progress. With such professional journey and strong value-based perspective, we eagerly look forward for his reflection in insights on topic leading with purpose, values, divine leadership in the changing world. Over to you, sir.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Madam Biswal. Good afternoon, sir. To be very honest, I'm very honored I'm privileged to be here. I was taken through a good round of the hospital and all the facilities there, and I came away impressed. And I wanted to donate some blood. That's a different story that they told me that you're not eligible to donate blood because my BP was slightly on the higher side today. So I said, okay, which means I will have to come back and donate blood later on. I must confess that, when I am in front of people like you, the youth, I'm always very nervous because you're the future of India. And what do I say today? You people have a lot of recourse to the latest, and you can always challenge me, and I'm open to challenge. But before I start, I just would like to narrate a small story. I won't put you off to sleep. So this goes back to, in a very distant village, there were two trees among the many others. There was one tree in the center of the village where all the villagers would do everything around that tree, whether it be a wedding or a birthday celebration, any festival, it would be all around that tree. That tree had branches, leaves, birds would come and rest, some fruits. And a little away, on a small hill, there was a gnarled old tree. No branches, no fruits. It was just a tree standing there. And the villagers would curse it every day, saying that why does it not just fall off? So one night rather, there was a very strong storm. And it kept howling, and the wind speed was very high. Finally, in the morning, the storm abated. All the villagers thought, okay, that tree would have gone off. That gnarled old tree would have gone off. So they came out. They came to their favorite spot, that famous tree of theirs, and they found that was uprooted. Despite that being their favorite tree. And then they walked towards around the village and they saw this gnarled old tree standing firm. Nothing had happened to it. They were all surprised. The reason being its roots were a lot more into the ground and embedded. It was very, very strong. And I draw an analogy there with that tree and your institution. The values, the systems, the principles that have been embedded in this institution right from the very beginning is the cornerstone on which this institution rests and lies and builds itself forward. And this, my dear friends, is what you are fortunate to be involved with. And of course, you people have already been here, seen here. It is when others come here, they realize actually what is happening here. So with that, I would like to say that congratulations to all the people who are maintaining this, who built it in the initial stage, who conceived it and sustaining it today. So I was told that I need to come and talk. I will do some talking and I also open it up to you to ask me any questions that you like. See, one of the things that most of you are definitely, the threshold of your careers. Some of you may return here and work. Some of you will go outside and work. The world is wide open for you. What do you think is the world outside looking for? What do you think they're looking for? Are they looking for smart, beautiful young ladies? What are they looking for? Any idea? I know it is post-lunch, and in post-lunch session, it's called the graveyard session. Everyone loves to go to sleep. So it's definitely is going to be interactive. So what do you think out there, industry, etc., is looking for? Skills, creative mindset. Sorry? Immediate success. Okay? What else? Sorry?
Who strives for future?
Who strives for the future. Okay? All of you are right. All of you are right. What else? Sorry? Happy. Happy people. Okay? Yes? What else?
Smart.
Smart. How will you define smart? Go ahead. There's no right or wrong answer.
Maintains good relationship.
Maintain good relationships with others. Okay? I'll come back to that. Quick in everything. Okay? What else? Multitasking. Okay? What else?
Very hard to work, keeping the differences over.
Okay? Obedience, loyalty. You've touched a lot of things there. Very good. What else? Good leader. What does that mean? What does that mean? Good leader. What does that mean? Sorry? Taking on responsibilities. Okay? What else? Abilities to inspire. Okay? What none of you have touched upon is the aspect of active collaboration. Whatever you said so far is correct. But remember, when you're going out there to work, you may be brilliant, but on your own, you cannot do anything. This is where collaboration, teamwork, all that comes in. And if you cannot work in a team, if you cannot collaborate with others, and let me also explain, when you say collaboration, it doesn't just mean with the person sitting next to your left or to your right or in front of you or behind you, or in your own function or in your own department. It is a lot more widely encompassing than that. Collaborating with your team, collaborating with others not in your team, with other departments, other functions, collaborating with others outside your organization, with the government. There are a lot of stakeholders. You are situated here. There are a lot of stakeholders around you. The village, sometimes you may be working in a very rural area. That entire village community is a stakeholder for you. Collaborating with them, collaborating with the government institutions, collaborating with other institutions, collaborating with academia. So suddenly the meaning of collaboration starts expanding much more than what we had earlier thought of. And the reason why I'm saying this is that because you can be brilliant, and all of you are brilliant, but no one individual can do everything and manage everything. You need the support and active collaboration of everyone else. And this is where I draw a difference. Now I'll take you to the game of cricket. I saw a fantastic cricket pitch, global standards, and I was the vice president of the Hyderabad Cricket Association for 4 years. I know a little bit of cricket and cricket administration. That pitch is fantastic, but cricket is very much, no matter what you say, quite an individual game. If I'm a great bowler and in 1 over of 6 balls I can take 4 or 5 wickets, I can bowl them out. It's my individual ability. If I'm a great batsman, on my individual ability, I can score a lot of runs. Of course, there is an element of collaboration when you talk about fielding, you talk about catching, all that is there. But unlike other games like football or hockey, etc., where the teamwork is a lot more important. And there, the active collaboration is a lot more important. And here I'm going to take you now from there to coaches or managers. A coach in cricket has really not much of a role, because the captain on the field takes all the calls. In football and hockey, it is a coach who takes all the calls, whom he will substitute, which strategy to adopt, etc. So you often don't even realize who was the captain of a football team which won the World Cup or the Hockey World Cup. But you remember in cricket, because the captain takes a call. Now you must be wondering, why am I suddenly talking about a game like football and cricket and hockey, etc.? The reason being, when you are out there, when you are performing in a team, oftentimes you will be called to act as a leader. There is no one there behind you who can guide you, who can make you take the call. You will have to take the call yourself. The buck will stop with you, and everyone can be a leader, no matter how junior you are. Everyone can be a leader. Leader in your own sphere. And you will have to take that call. You will not have the opportunity to depend on someone else or your boss or your boss's boss or someone else to tell you what to do. You will have to take all the calls. The buck will stop with you. If you succeed, success is yours. And if you don't succeed, success is someone else's and not yours. Now, if you want to succeed, all of you have said, see, you will garner skills. You will garner everything. But to succeed, there is something more that has come up recently. The entire thing. Have you heard of EQ? Emotional quotient. There are some people who are brilliant, who got fantastic skills, much more than others. But because of their poor EQ, they are not as successful as others. And as you go higher and higher in life, your EQ, your emotional quotient will become more and more important. Because you are dealing with people. And someone did mention that maintaining good relations. Yes. Ensuring your team is happy with you. Ensuring your team, there's very good collaborative spirit in the team. Your EQ will start mattering more than your IQ. IQ, all of you have. All of you have. When you get in somewhere, everyone's got a reasonable level of IQ. It is the EQ which will start differentiating. And the other aspect, whatever you've learned today, and if you're going out, say in March, April, you're going into the corporate world, in 1.5 years to 2 years, it'll become obsolete. You have to start learning all over again. The rate of obsolescence is so high that remaining contemporary is going to be a lifelong habit that you need to start cultivating. You need to be contemporary all the time. So let me ask you a question. What is the latest today that is happening everywhere and everyone is scared of it? What is it?
War.
Sorry?
War.
War. Yes, no? AI. Whether war happens or not, and it may happen, it may not happen, AI will eat up a lot of jobs. But it'll eat up a lot of mundane jobs. So what does that mean for you? What does it mean for you, my friends? Come on. There's no right or wrong answer. What does it mean for you? What does it mean for you? Sorry?
It takes a thought and human thinks.
Okay. So, you're right in that. So what? So what does it mean for you? Suddenly, whatever you've learned may not be enough. It may not be enough. And you'll find that a lot of rudimentary jobs, a lot of mundane jobs, a lot of jobs which can be easily replicated are going to be eaten up. And I've seen it from the start of my career. When I started my career, there was a job, I think, ma'am, you will probably know about it. There was a job called a stenographer. Anyone heard of stenographer? I don't expect you all to have heard about it. You may have heard. I think you definitely know. A stenographer was someone who could take shorthand. The boss would dictate, would take shorthand and be able to type it out and give them. The bosses would never type. Okay? This was before the computers came on. Once computers started coming on, right, the whole question of shorthand and dictation all went kaput. Bosses would start typing their own messages, their own mails, Previously, when I started my career, every manager had a secretary. Soon it was the function had one secretary. Even that is gone. You look at how roles are getting dissipated, are removed. And without you realizing it, it is going. Today, having a car driver is very much essential. Another 10 years from today, you'll have only driverless cars. When I was growing up, we would, middle class family, so we would get new clothes twice or thrice a year, depending on the festivals. And you had to buy the cloth, take it to the tailor, and you had to go 1 month before the festival at least if you want the clothes to be stitched, because you got to go for a trial, sometimes 2 or 3 trials, and then finally, just 1 or 2 days before the festival, the clothes would be ready. And this will happen for you for weddings. Today, how many of you stitch your clothes? It's gone. Today, you go to any of the stores, Park Avenue, Raymond's, Van Heusen, name it, Alan Solly. They've got their in-house tailors. Okay, if this is not fitting, slight alteration needs to be done. They'll say, come in 1 hour, 1.5 hours, it will be ready. It's another job gone out of the train. So I just want you to think and tell me, what do you think is 1 or 2 other jobs that will go out? Yes? Teaching. You're very right. The way academia is going on today, that will not be the way it is going to happen tomorrow. You are fortunate to have teachers and others here today. There'll come a time when everything will be online. Everything. And you just have to start referring and studying on your own. There are already courses. Does it mean it's very bad? No, it doesn't. What it does offer you, we thought of other things that you can adopt and take on. I mean, it's already there abroad. Like if you're doing engineering, you can take comparative religion. If you're doing mechanical engineering, you can also take comparative religion as an elective, which here in India at this point in time, it is not available. But increasingly there, because you have large number of students, you are only guided there. You have to do a lot of work on your own. Today here, you are not just guided, you are actually schooled. You can go to your teacher and ask for a doubt. They are willing to explain to you. They're willing to take up some extra classes. And now look how these things are changing the entire perception that you have about education. Anything else going to change? I'm glad that you talked about teachers, so none of you want to become teachers, I can see. Okay? What else? Sorry? Doctors. Yes and no. Yes and no. And that's a very dangerous area now. Very dangerous area, because increasingly people, are resorting to AI for the easy questions. Okay? And getting treated. But it has its own implications, because the sort of diseases that are now coming up, we never had that 50 years ago. I mean, 2024, July, I had to go to Kerala, and then when I came back, I had very bad viral fever. I could just about get from the airport to home. It was so bad that I could not move on the bed. It was painful. My fever subsided in 2 days, but the body ache was tremendous. I couldn't open the medicine also like this. It felt as if my bones would break. All tests were done and all were negative. No chikungunya, no whatever other thing. So then the doctor told me, look, there are a lot of strains that have come out, which cannot get caught. The only thing is you've got to give it rest, nutrition. There is no medicine. Your fever has come down in 2 days, you've got to give it rest. And I had black patches on my face and everything of that sort, nose. No one could explain it. So, what they could tell you, it's a viral infection. It took me about 2.5 months to get back. Has it been ascertained? What is it? No, it has not. So the idea of going to AI is fine, but there are a lot more things that are happening that AI will not be able to catch. So therefore, research and development is one area which is always going to be in demand. Design is always going to be in demand. What I'm trying to tell you is that you need to start pushing the boundaries of your own thinking process. Today, when I was growing up, there were only 2, 3 careers open to you: engineering, chartered accountancy, and MBBS. Correct me, ma'am, if I'm wrong. When you were growing up, it must have been pretty similar. The 3 careers. My father wanted me to become an engineer, and you tell me, we grew up in Calcutta. My colleague, Mr. Ghosh, his son has stood so and so in the joint entrance, all India. Every day he would tell me. I never took up engineering. I was doing my CA when I got into XLR Jamshedpur. I did up to my intern in CA, and then I left everything and went to XLR. I took up human resources because that was something which fancied me at that point in time. No great thinking, because there wasn't enough of knowledge available. There wasn't enough of understanding available. I had to make a choice of the limited options that I had and the limited knowledge that I had. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy I made those choices and I made the best of those small options that I had. But today, that's not where you all are sitting. Today, the opportunities for you all are huge. The area of humanities is huge. When I was growing up, the age of humanities was never so vast. Today, you can make a career in almost anything. But for that, you have to also understand what is it that you want to do. Are you clear what you want to do? Are you clear? Yes, no? Yes. I'm so glad to hear that yes, because I wasn't. At your age, I wasn't clear. And I'm a bit of a religious person, so every day I would go and pray and say that, please guide me. I don't know where I'm headed. Even when I was doing my CA, I didn't know if that is what I wanted. I was lost at that point in time. And I kept praying and asking for guidance. Today, I'm sure all of you are religious in your own ways, but today you have a lot more people to whom you can seek guidance from. The explosion of the internet has provided a lot more of substance and a lot more of information to you, which was never there during our time. So tell me, how many of you have thought of which is the career scope that you want to get into? Anyone? How many of you want to be doctors here? No? Okay, no doctors. Nurses? No, so they're both out. You want to stay far away from hospitals. How many of you want to be teachers here? Wow, almost everyone. Fair enough. How many of you wanted to be chartered accountants here? Okay. How many of you want to do an MBA here? Okay. So I'm so glad that almost the majority of you are wanting to. Anyone wants to do anything else apart from teaching? Anyone anything else? No? Okay. Noble profession. My question to you now is that, are you prepared for the students who are going to come out tomorrow? Are you prepared for the students who are going to come out tomorrow? Yes, no. Could be yes, no, maybe. Sorry? In the process. Someone said kindergarten? The question the reason why I asked this, the students that are going to be coming out tomorrow are very, very different than what you have today. Very different from you all. As teachers, you need to be prepared for that. You need to be prepared for that. When we were studying, I've got spanked in school many times. I've got caned in school many times. Many times. And we never minded that. We looked upon that as part of our growth, part of our growing. Today, you cannot shout at a student. Forget about spanking or anything of that sort. It will cost, what does it cost? What is it called? Mental harassment, mental torture. That's the world you're entering into. And I wonder what will happen when you start teaching the kids, where, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years from today, what will that be called? So, are you prepared for the student body that is coming there? And despite that, you have to educate the child. What does education mean? Anyone? All of you consider yourself learned? Yes, no? Good. Then I have something small to tell you all. Those who are learned, believe me, theirs is a world that does not exist anymore. It will be the learners who will inherit the world. The learners, not the learned. And I'm differentiating here. Learned means you've already arrived. You've learned everything. The learners, I'm still growing. I'm still learning. The learners will be the ones who will inherit the world. And I've got my own experience to share with you on that. I've been fortunate to have worked in a lot of multinationals, both in India and in the UK. I did a lot of restructuring work. And then did a course in change management. I was leading change management across Asia. And then I went for an OD, that's Organizational Design Certification Program, to the US, Bethlehem. Now, for an HR professional, an OD program is a lot more valuable than an Harvard program. So this was a 7-week program, and it was not continuous. You go for 1 week, you come back, and they tell you a lot of exercises to do, and then you go back again. So it was spread over 8, 9, 12 months. So when I arrived there, I thought, look, I've done a lot of work, restructuring work, change management work, done a lot of work. I know something. We started the class at 8 a.m. in the morning and it ended at 8 p.m. at night. At 8 p.m. at night, I did not have the ability to think. I was totally zapped out, but I could go and play a game of badminton also. In the first half an hour, I realized I knew nothing, because the depth and breadth that I saw there was something that I had not fathomed. So when you think that you know a lot, be careful. That's a very dangerous mark, because there's a lot more there outside which you don't know about. From that day, I categorized myself as a learner. I'm still learning. I learn a lot from my own children. I've got 3 kids all abroad, 2 in Canada, 1 in France. I still learn from them. Are they very patient in telling me? No, they're not. They wonder why this Buddha has not learned so far. They do. And I don't blame them, because that is the world in which they are living in. And are you, as teachers, prepared for that sort of students who are going to come out? They won't tell you Buddhi straight to your face. My children can call me a Buddha straight to my face because they have that freedom. But students will say, what is he talking here? He doesn't know. Or she doesn't know. Because the explosion of knowledge today is huge. Are you prepared to not teach, but to educate students? And there's a difference between teaching and educating. Educating is to help them live differently. That is what education is all about. Education is not about having more degrees. Now, having more degrees, yeah, you've and by Indian system, there's a study by rote, get some degrees. Education is making them live differently, making them think differently. Can you make your students think? If you prepare your class session and you go out there and teach that, but you have not enabled them to think, your task is only 25% done. You have to enable your students to start thinking, because that is when you are educating the students. That is when you're getting them to think on their own. You have to start activating that. You can disagree with me, and I'm quite happy to debate with you. Anyone disagrees, please raise your hand. I don't feel bad about it. I will debate with you. Disagree? Come on, everyone, don't say yes to me for everything. You can disagree. Now, suddenly I've raised a lot of doubts in your mind whether you want to be a teacher itself. And slowly, from what you've thought of being a teacher, another 5 to 10 years, it'll be the term will be more of educator. You're going to guide them. You need not teach them. You're going to guide them. You can facilitate their learning. And that is what you'll be doing, facilitating. And to be able to facilitate, you need to be prepared a lot more than just what you would do to go and teach. When you teach ABCD, it's so simple, no? And I've seen a school in somewhere in Whitefield, because I am quite connected with education. There's a school from nursery onwards. Every classroom opens to the green space. And what I found very intriguing and interesting is, how do they teach? So they're actually educating the students. So A for apple, they have a small apple tree there. So they go take them there and say, this is apple, A for apple. So they're connecting the thought. Similarly for every single thing, every single vegetable. Now, how do they teach them about how this entire cycle works? So they help them in saying that, okay, what goes into the soil? How do you nourish the tree? It's a new way of teaching, a new way of educating people to understand. And what happens then is that that remains very firmly in their mind. If something is taught, A for whatever, you can miss out the next after that. But once you understand the process, so it is getting more into the process than just the rote part of it. Now, I've been speaking for about half an hour to 40 minutes. I would like you all to ask me some questions. It can be any question. No holds barred, no stops. Ask me anything you feel like. Come on, I don't expect a silence. That's not what I want. I am looking for questions from you, because that will enable me to then further process it.
Last question.
Otherwise, we can wait till midnight over here. I'll stand here, I'll sit here, and you all sit there. We'll wait till you ask me a question. Go ahead. Anything. Always the first person to ask a question will be the most shy, because wondering, is it going to be a very silly question? There is no silly question. There is no stupid question. There is no silly question. There are only questions. And let me tell you one of my definitions for this. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Please go ahead.
Like the chain, never chain of puja. So what we do
Ah, very nice. You put the ball back on my court. Ball is in my court. Yeah, a clever one. Okay, I will attempt to answer that. See, there is no clear answer today, because you don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. First thing is to remain contemporary and start analyzing what are the changes happening in the environment. If it is AI, okay, you can't say, no, I will shut my eye to AI, because it is there. How are you going to use AI to enable you to educate the students better or to facilitate their learning? Everything that's going to happen, the rate of options being so high, how are you going to use that? So you have to get acclimatized to that first. You have to start learning that first. Whatever changes are happening, the first responsibility for you is that start learning that. Because if you are not aware of that, you will have a problem teaching that. Because students are going to have, because of their exposure, are going to be talking about AI when you still don't know what AI is all about. It's an example. So if there are developments happening, start learning that. Start acclimatizing yourself to that. Start coming to grips with that. So you know exactly what it is, so that you are then able, and then start working on that, saying that how am I going to use this now to educate my students, to facilitate their learning. So the onus is back on you in a big way to get yourself equipped to meet the expectations of the students or teenagers who come to you. Clear? And I'll tell you one difference, that the way I differentiate. When you answer a question, it is from your knowledge base. When you ask a question, you are thinking and asking. So it's your intelligence that's coming into play. So I've always looked at saying that answering a question is not about intelligence. Answering a question is about knowing the answer, which you may have learned. But asking a question is because you have to think through. I'm not saying that you ask a question saying that, okay, how do you feel today? That's also a question. Okay, but asking a question, a relevant question, is when you apply your mind and think and ask. And that is then using your own intelligence. What I'm trying to push you to understand is that use your intelligence to ask not only teachers, but yourself. Use your intelligence. Start using that, because you will need to use that more and more. Am I clear on that? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. Next question.
How should be a leader and what are the important qualities they need to possess?
Leadership. It's a huge area. So I'll try and put certain things into buckets, certain things which I have practiced. One of the things I always tell my team is that if you go wrong, okay, I would like to be the first person to know it. I don't want to know it from someone else. If you don't tell me and I get to know from someone else, I will be very annoyed. Moment you tell me it is my problem, I will bear the brunt. It is not your failure. But if you succeed, I will ensure that the success goes to you and not to me. Give the credit. Secondly, if your team makes a mistake, don't run your team member under the bus. Take it onto yourself. And I have been called, my boss has told me, the chairman has told me, I know you've not done it. I want to know who. I said, no, I'm sorry. I report into you. If anyone has got to be hauled, I have to be hauled. Because I am responsible for my team. And I will not allow you to touch my team member. I will touch my team member. It took my chairman of MRF, it took him some time to accept it. Because they were so used to saying that punish the person who's done it, maybe even get him out of the organization. I said, no, that's not the way. The other thing I would tell my team members is that make mistakes, but don't repeat the mistake. Again, this was because in Diageo, I had my super boss tell me, Roy, make as many mistakes as you want. Only thing, don't come back with the same mistake. Because if you come back with the same mistake, it means you have not learned. So the whole emphasis on learning, not about making mistakes. If you're learning and you don't repeat the mistake, it's fantastic. Second one. Third is understand your team member. You may know the person's name, you may know the person's height, you may know the person's build, you may know the person's weight, you may know the person's educational background, you may still not have understood the person. What makes a person tick? Understand what is inhibiting that person. What is there in the background? What is there in the family? Is something going wrong? People come to the workplace, they don't leave whatever's there at home, their pressures and all their issues at home, and they come at work. No, they carry, they're human beings, they carry it to work. Similarly, they carry back the pressures from work to their home. If you don't know what is plaguing the individual at home, you will never know this individual at work. You will never get the best out of the individual. So you need to spend time with your team members. I mean, these 3-4 things apart, see, you'll get a lot of other things which are normally there. But these 3-4 things stood me apart and will stand anyone apart. Get to know your team members. Get to know what will make them tick. Get to know what will not make them tick. Get to know why they're upset. They'll be upset. You have to invest that time. When you start delegating, understand whether they have the capability. Just delegation won't do. Do they have the capability to do it? If not, do not set them up for failure. So therefore, you've got to understand what is their capability level. You have to assess that. And also, be transparent in your communication. Let them not second guess what you're thinking. Be transparent in your communication. What you're saying and what you're feeling should be the same thing. Transparency, they want that. They don't mind a tough boss, but they want a fair boss. They want a boss who will stand by them. They want a boss whom they can understand it. Take time out to be with them. Not just team meetings, but also outings with them. If you do these 4, 5, 6 things, you are building yourself to be a good leader. There are many other things which is run of the mill, which I'm sure you will do, but these 4, 5, 6 things really stand you out. Thank you. Good question. Anyone else? Come on, I've not answered all questions. I only answered 2 people though. Come on. Let us hear some other questions. You can ask me any personal question also. The other aspect is that don't be afraid to take risks, but not foolish risks, calculated risks. You have to, because that's how it's going to be going to make you succeed. Take calculated risks. Understand what can go wrong. When you're making a plan, okay, always have a backup for that plan. So something can go wrong. If something goes wrong, what is a backup? Have you prepared for that? We had at XLRA Jamshedpur, we had a priest, Father Edward McGrath. He was one of the founding fathers when XLRA started in 1949. He was there. And he was a bacha at that point in time. And there are photographs of him standing guard for the XLRA did not have money. So standing guard at night on the cement and the steel that was all there to build the place. By the time we reached the campus, he was a doyen. A lot of things we learned from him. You could not, and I'll give you some examples, you could not drink in the campus, boys' campus. Now, it's not that the boys were coming there, the gents were coming there all 21 and 22 years of age. Some have come with after postgrad and working experience about 30, 33. They will be drinking. He knows you're drinking. He would go to that particular room, hold the door from outside and says, I know what's happening inside. I'm coming back after 10 minutes. I want to see the room clean. After 10 minutes, when he comes, the room is clean. What has he done? You can say that he let them go. What has he done? He has held their dignity. He's also told them, look, I know what's happening. Don't do it. So stop it. Okay. Did the students mind it? Not at all. Now, there were a few of them who were taking drugs. Now, he knew who it was. One person's name was Mahesh, one of our seniors. So this guy had gone for a walk in the morning and he came back. He said, Mahesh, come here. He's an American Jesuit. There's a lot of people taking drugs here. No. And he said, yes, father. Yes, father. And he says, we should put a stop to it. So if you know of anyone, should come and tell me. I won't extricate them, but we need to guide them. Why did he catch this guy? He knew he was taking it. What were you doing with him? Telling him, hey boss, control this. And giving the thief the whistle or the baton to control everything else. Now he would make us do something every weekend in the first semester. He would call it competencies. So you had to, for example, we had to organize a sports day for the underprivileged children in Jamshedpur. And he would hear the plan. So our plan, we narrated the plan, this, that, will. This is excellent. This is in the month of July in Jamshedpur. He says, what happens if it rains? Oh, father, we did not think about it. He says, well, start thinking. You have time. Very practical way of telling us that if you have a plan A, have a plan B also in place. Things can go wrong. The people who succeed are the ones who can think on their feet with another plan, or who have thought about another plan and therefore are ready to think on their feet and say, okay, this has gone wrong, I'll start this immediately. And another fine piece of education that we had, I studied in Calcutta, St. Xavier's School, Calcutta. Very fortunate to have studied there. So when we were in class 6, our ground floor was our classroom. Class 6 was ground floor. So we had 2 doors facing the big field and 2 windows facing the back field. One of the rich Marwadi boys, and there are a lot of rich Marwadi boys in St. Xavier's, Calcutta. One of the rich Marwadi boys those days bought some 500 rupees and someone stole it. So this boy went and complained to the prefect of discipline, Father Boucher, who was from Luxembourg, a Jesuit priest. Now he came to the class room. Now I want to ask you, what do you think he did? Because 500 rupees those days was a big sum of money. Many people did not have a salary of 500 rupees. It's like bringing 10,000 rupees to the classroom today and someone steals it. He comes to the classroom. He says, okay, this has happened. So what do you think he did? Anyone? You all may not be right because you were not there at that point in time. So what do you think he did? Anyone? Please tell me. You would have asked everyone, what? Who has stolen it? Okay? You think someone will say, yes, I have stolen it. Okay? But good one. What else? Come on. So, you would have checked their bags, yes? And one minute. So, you would have checked their bags and have found it in someone's bag, right? Okay? What else? Finally given back where? But you're in the classroom, no? But it's a good thought what you've done, and what you've said is a good thought. I'll come back to that. What else? Okay, I won't tax you any further. He says, what I want to do, each one of you, put your hands in your pocket, go to this window and empty your hands outside the window. Outside the window is the backfield, the smaller field. Half an hour later, I will be going there. I want to see the money. So the entire classroom went with their hands in their pocket, when their close, close fists went outside the window and just opened it. There's no one to see. Half an hour later, he found the money, came back with it. He gave it to the boy and told the boy, bring your parents on Monday. It was a Friday, it was Saturday, bring your parents on Monday. What do you think he did? What do you think he did? This happened in 1975, and I have to remember it so vividly. Something must have stuck in my memory, right? So what do you think he did that day? Anyone? Exactly. He ensured the dignity of that child. We're in class 6, remember this. If you catch that child, imagine the sort of black mark and stigma that's going to be there. He ensured the dignity of that child. Do you think that child would ever repeat it? Never. And he was not keen to know who stole it. And this is where I like the Jesuits a lot. It comes so naturally, educating comes so naturally to them. They're the largest educators in the world. They've got the maximum universities in the world. The rich Marwadi's boys' parents were called on Monday, and he reprimanded the parents, saying that, why did you send so much of money with your child? They don't need this much of money in school. Because St. Xavier's Calcutta had the richest of riches. You had Sanjeev Goenka, Harsh Goenka, Vikrampati Singhania, Birla's grandchildren all studying there, and the poorest of poorest studying there, who many would study without paying fees. There were total concession. Many would study on concession also. They would pay part of the fees. But they're very strict that no show of ostentation. You need to learn to rub shoulders with everyone. Everyone. Another piece of fine education which has never been lost on me. Any questions? I've been speaking for about an hour, and I know that many of you are tired. Any questions? Including both of you all can ask me any question. Ma'am, you and Bhargav, you also can ask me any question.
Educators. But like, what are the qualities should have to become a good educators for the future generation? Is the first question. The one more question I have. And you were speaking, you said that when you are in our age, you are not only passion. And who is an inspiration to become like this?
Okay. Good questions. The first one I will take, what will make you a good educator? And I will try and attempt that answer, because I don't know full answers, because I don't know what's going to happen 10, 15 years from today. Firstly, you got to be empathetic to understand what your students are all about, because each one of them is coming from a different background. Secondly, you have to be well versed with everything that's happening around. You need to start preparing. When you are preparing your lesson plan, you need to keep in mind all the students in that classroom, because each one learns differently. How are you going to educate each one of them? Not one single approach will help everyone. How can you make it simple and easy for every single student of that class? How can you leverage technology? How can you leverage on the latest? So therefore, your preparation in all those areas has to be a lot more than what it is today. See, I had the good fortune of studying from a Premier B school, but I'm sad to say that my professors, most of them, they did their PhD some 25 years ago and relied on that thesis for the rest of their lives. Because in India, there is nothing that you have to do research and publish. Some of my batchmates are professors in the US. There they can only, one semester, they have to do research and publish if they want to retain their professorship. So they remain contemporary. So have I answered your first question? Second question, what? Can you repeat your second question? Okay, I never had any inkling, I never had any motivation to get into studies. I'm serious. I've got a younger sister who never knew what it was to come second in class. She was always a topper. I would be from some middle to the last because I would never study. I was very keen on sports and games and I was very good at it. I have represented Bengal in badminton, hockey. I was a very good athlete and I wanted to represent India in 800 meters. I had good timings and everything of that sort. But what I did not fathom was when I went for the selections that there could be this issue of being cheated out. And that's when my father told me there is no future in this. I come from a very low middle class family. He said, there's no future in it. I played for the first division football team in Calcutta also. I was into that full time. I would pay attention in class. That would help me scrape through. Okay. Another thing which helped me was that my father, right from when we were in class 2 or 3 or 4, I don't recollect, every month would buy a magazine, 2 magazines, Competition Master and Competition Success.
Yes,
Every month my father would buy that and they had a probationary officer's exam there. Moment he would bring it, I would pounce on it to attempt that, even in class 3 and 4. That got a rhythm into way of thinking. My sister and myself. My sister was a good student. She's always stood first and always the comparison. So therefore, I would then start saying that, okay, you're saying, I would tell my father, you're saying that she's come first again. I can play football. Can she play football like me? I will not give up. I can play badminton. Can she play badminton like me? So that would shut the argument. I got into XLRI again because I didn't know about this examination. About MBA that time was just not. Two of my seniors, they were about 3-4 years senior to me in school, they got into XLRI. So my idea about these Premier B schools that you've got to be a demigod to get in there. They must be brilliant, and I'm not brilliant. Someone who's averaging in class, average to lowers, I have no chance. But I had a friend of mine, a senior friend of mine, good friend. He was working for Brookborn Lipton, and he had done his MBA from Calcutta University. He says, "Why don't you give this a shot?" I said, "What is it all about here?" Then he told me, he says, "Why do you do HR? Because I think you have that." Like that book. I said, "Okay, now which institutions provide this?" He says, "XLRI Jamshedpur and TISS Bombay." I said, "But now how do you prepare?" He said, "I've got a GBAT book, which is an older version of GMAT." So he gave me the GBAT book. On 28th of December 1984, he gave it to me. 6th January was the exam. I looked at the GBAT book I went through. I said, "Hey, this is pretty simple, yeah. This is like what the Competition Master and Success was. Pretty simple." Remember, Competition Master and Success I was doing from class 3 and 4 every month. So I got that into that rhythm. So anyway, I thought this first year I will sit as an experience. And next year I'll prepare very seriously and sit for the IIMs and everything. I went to the exam hall. I look around, people, postgrads, people with experience, engineers, to my mind, all brilliant guys. Anyway, I started writing. I found this very simple. I said, "Look, this cannot be the entrance exam." So I pulled out the page to see whether it was really the entrance examination paper or not. It was. Anyway, I completed it. They gave you a break of 15-20 minutes and go back and come back. You got to write an essay. Now, I was quite good at writing. In English was one of my favorites. I stepped out. Two of my friends was there. One was doing his engineering in Jadavpur University. Roy, you've come to Sathya. Have you finished? I said, "Yeah, I finished this one. There is an essay to do, which I won't do. Next day, I'll sit." He said, "Nothing doing. You will go." I said, "No, Raju, his name is Raju. I will not." Next day, I'll sit. He said, "Nothing doing. You're not even taking a break. Go back, finish the exam. I'm going to be standing here. You will not go without doing the essay. You've come so far, no? Do the essay." He literally pushed me back. I went inside, wrote the essay. I didn't give it a thought because so many people writing. No. Within 2 3 weeks, one letter came with the envelope had SLRI Jamshedpur. I said, "Oh no, they send me the regret letter so quickly." So anyway, I opened it. The first thing that fell open was reporting time 9 a.m. I said, "This cannot be a reject letter." So I had cleared the written. I was called for the interview. So I thanked God and then went and told my parents. So after I left that room, my sisters asked my mother, "When did he study for this?" So it's a fact. It's my own life story. When did he study for this? I felt it was God's grace. And I also give thanks to my father for me buying that and instilling in us that practice of going through that. My father was very good in mental maths, and I have got some of that from him. When it came to the interview, I said, I've come so far. Now I've got to give it a great effort. I read everything under the sun. And then I went to XLRI Jamshedpur because he was 3 years or 4 years senior to me in school, but he used to live around the same road as I would live. I went to him and I said that, hey, his name was Alok Paska. Alok, I've been called for the interview. He says, congratulations. I said, boss, wait, I have to clear the interview. I don't know how to, this is the first interview of my life. I'm still doing BCom. How do you prepare for it? So he sat down and helped me through the preparation. One thing he told me, never say yes or no. Give both sides. See, at that point in time, I didn't understand. Give both sides because that also tells them that you are able to think from both the sides. He says, never take a side because you take a side, they will take the opposite side and they will push you down hard on that. And it happened. So they was talking about continental soccer and Latin American soccer and all those things. They asked me those questions. I remember all the questions they asked me even now. I remember once they tried to push me. Yes, at that point in time, 1985, Rajiv Gandhi, the then Prime Minister of India, had made a statement that Calcutta is a dying city. So everyone in Bengal became very, very angry about it and they were all up in arms. So the question said, oh, you're from Calcutta. So do you agree with the statement that the Prime Minister made that Calcutta is a dying city? Controversial. So I still remember my answer. I said, it depends on which way you look at it. If you look at it from a common man's perspective, roads are not proper, load shedding, no water, you'll say it's a dying city. But if you look at it from a literature's perspective, or an artist's perspective, or the culture's perspective, it is a thriving city. And you'll say the richest city in India. So he tried to push me. He says, so do you agree it's a dying city? I said, no, it depends on which side you look at it from. If you look at it from an artist's side, or culture's perspective side, or those people, it's a fantastic city. But there are other issues also. And I said, that's probably true for every city in the world. He didn't press me further. Later on, he told me after I got in, he says, that was a very good reply. So if I look at my inspirations, I had a lot of people to inspire me. When I was growing up and I was into sports and games, there was a runner called Sebastian Coe who was running in 800 meters from UK. He was my inspiration. A lot of sports personalities were my inspiration because that was all that I had in my life. I was never bothered about academics. But once I got into this field, there were a lot of seniors who inspired me to do different things. A lot of leaders who inspired me to do different things. And I looked for inspiration from them, from anyone. Could be a leader, could be someone who's not even a leader, could be even reporting into me. So it's not one or two people who've inspired me, but a lot of people have inspired me. I hope I answered your question. Any other question? Don't tell me you'll have gone to sleep there. Come on, ask me anything.
About how to be a good leader, but I would like to ask how to be a good team member, like how their attitude should be, because team leaders might be younger and older. So how one should be as a team member?
Very good question because when I had about 8-9 years of experience, I was pitchforked into the leadership role. I was made the vice president HR for the company, much to the chagrin of all the other VPs there because they were all in their 50s. So those in British American Tobacco and this decision was taken. And I had people in my own department who were much older to me. It's not easy. And I tell you, from my side, I had to make a lot of effort to reach out to them. One thing I told them, I said, see, I was not hankering for this position. I was made this, and I now need your support. Now, you can choose to support me, or you can say that, no, I will support you, or I will not support you. But one thing I can assure you, I want to work with you as a team, and I value you. And I will do my best to ensure that your growth happens. Now, if I want to be a good team member with others who are leading me, one is understand what are their priorities. Okay, and mesh my priorities with their priorities. Understand what is it they are expecting and try and match up to that. Not saying that you can have your priorities, I'll have my own priorities. Ensure that for example, if you're working with the Brit, if they tell you that, okay, can you give it to me on Monday at 9 a.m., they expect it at Monday at 9 a.m. The Indian way of saying that, boss, it didn't happen. I'll give it tomorrow. The way they will look at it is that you are not respecting their time. They will look at it as unprofessional. If they call you for a meeting at 3 p.m., be there before 3 p.m. If you walk in at 3:15 p.m., the psychological message you're giving to them is that I don't value your time. So if you want to be a good team player, all these things matter. Just calling someone sir or sucking up to him doesn't work. For them, what matters is that if I have given you something, can you finish it on time so that I can rely on you? Now, there could be times when it is not going to get over. You need to get back to them and say that, look, you had given me this time and I had agreed, but these are the difficulties that I'm facing. I'm not able to finish it on time. I need a couple of days more. They will accept and appreciate that. That is a good team player. So you need to ensure that you have understood your boss better. And don't give surprises. You're supposed to give it on Monday, and Monday morning the boss is not ready. I need 2 more days here. Because he has or she has made her plans or his plans accordingly. But if you go back on a Thursday and say that, I don't think this will get over, I'm trying my best, I probably need till Wednesday. Can you give me time till Wednesday? Or I can get this done if you give me another 2 to 3 people to work on it. Then you're getting into a dialogue and you're asking for his or her involvement with you to get this done. They will appreciate that a lot. These are some of the practical tips that I have. Hope I've answered your question. Bhargav, you have any question? You can, if you want, you can ask me later also. Ma'am, if you have any question, I'm willing to take that also. I know you got more experience than me, but whatever little that I know, I'm willing to. Okay. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Pleasure interacting with you. A lot of good questions. And let me also confess, this is the first time I'm actually in a session where there are only ladies. I've never been in a session like this where there's only ladies. Okay, there could be more ladies than gents, but the first time. And as I always believe, there's always a first time for some experience. So I'm very glad that I've had this experience today. I will end up with a small story. I won't put you to sleep, I promise you. Long, long ago, just like the other day, in a very distant land, just around the corner, there lived a wise old man who had all the answers to all the problems in the world. So people from near and far came to him with their problems and questions, and he answered them and gave them solutions, and they were very happy. And as a result, his fame spread far and wide. Now, in that same village, there was a young man who was quite jealous of this wise old man's popularity. So he decided to test it. So one day he took 2 small little birds, one in each hand, put it behind his back and went to this wise old man and said, "Dear wise old man, you have all the answers to all the questions in the world. I have one simple question for you. In one of my hands is a live bird and in the other hand is a dead bird. Tell me which hand has a live bird and which hand has a dead bird." So the wise old man looked at him very sadly because he understood what this young man was going to do. If he said right hand had the live bird, he will crush that to death. Okay. He kept quiet. So after a minute, this young man told him, "Wise old man, I asked you a question. I want an answer." He was getting irritated. So wise old man looked up at him and said that, "My dear young friend, the answer is in your hands." So, my dear young friends, the answer to whatever you heard, the answer to what you want to do is all in your hands. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Today's session beautifully highlighted the importance of collaboration and teamwork, showing how success is achieved through collective efforts, much like a game of cricket. Sir, you have emphasized the importance of emotional intelligence and encouraged us to push our boundaries while being clear about our goals in today's world of abundant opportunities. Sir, you have also inspired us to prepare ourselves not just to teach but also to educate. Most importantly, motivated us to think independently and differently as we are future teachers. Thank you so much, sir. May I now request our respected Director Ma'am Professor Meenakshi Biswal Ma'am to kindly present a token of love and gratitude to our esteemed guest.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let us conclude this enlightening session by chanting Shanti Mantra. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti